Greetings to all. Good morning. I'm Bhavya and I'm Akshata Singh from 2BBLL.
Hello everyone, I'm Navayavan from 2BBLLB.
I'm Alamda Nishita Reddy from 2BB LLB. Esteemed colleague, our vision to erect Town Hall in Howrah stands as a beacon of a community progress. However, to breathe life in this noble endeavor, it is necessary that we must gather funds.
Indeed, Kedarnath. The need for the town hall in Havra has been long felt by our community. It will serve as a hub of social, cultural, and educational activities, enriching the lives of our citizens.
But we should not underestimate the financial challenges that lie ahead. Because building such a structure, we would need substantial resources. And we should ensure that we have the means to see this project through fruition.
Agreed. We must devise a strategy to ensure or raise sufficient funds before we can contemplate on the grounds of construction. So, our commitment to this cause must be unwavering.
Fear not, my friend. So, with commitment and with support in each other, we can surpass any obstacle that comes in our path. But let us unite our efforts and embark on this journey to realize our shared vision for the betterment of the Howrah.
Gentlemen, I present you the meticulously crafted plans for our esteemed town hall.
Admirable work indeed, but however, we must ensure that we meet up the financial commitment because it must remain whereby it is upholding our highest standards of the quality of the infrastructure that we are going to do.
Of course, Commissioner Bhattacharya, rest assured we have taken the measures to optimize costs without compromising the integrity of a project. So these plans have been designed according to the needs and aspirations of our society, and this shows our vision of the future.
Excellent. But now let us decide about the financial aspect of our agreement. So, can I know what is the estimated cost that we are going to incur?
So initially we have agreed upon 26,000 rupees, but now it might exceed up to 40,000 rupees.
Okay, it's a considerable amount of sum. But however, we must understand the importance of this investment in this infrastructure because it will serve our community for the generations to come. Okay, let us proceed with this agreement, whereby it is an understanding that even if the additional expenses that you incur, we will be sharing it responsibly. Mr. Mohammed, I greatly appreciate your support and commitment to this town hall project, and your subscription will play a very crucial role in bringing our vision to life.
Indeed, bhattacharji, I fully understand the importance of this project for the community and I am prepared to fulfill my financial obligations.
Your cooperation is greatly appreciated, but your subscription amount of 1,000 rupees will really advance our vision to efforts.
You have my word, Commissioner. I'll ensure I'll make my payment promptly.
Commissioner Bhattacharji, I must confess that I'm facing unforeseen financial difficulties at the moment. With intentions were genuine, I fear I may not be able to honor the subscription committed previously.
Mr. Mohammed, I understand that circumstances can change, but we rely on collective contributions from our supporters to move forward in this project. And is there no way to fulfill this obligation?
I'm afraid not, Commissioner. I'm deeply sorry for any inconvenience in this case, but I must prioritize my own financial stability at this time.
Calling the plaintiff of this case, Kedarnath Bhattacharya. Kedarnath Bhattacharya. Calling the defendant of this case, Gorie Mohammed. Gorie Mohammed. for the plaintiff, you may present your arguments.
May it please the court, the counsel of plaintiff seek permission to approve the diet.
Much obliged.
May it please the court, the counsel seek permission to address the bench as your lordship.
Much obliged.
May it please the court, I, the counsel of plaintiff in this case, Kedarnath bhattacharji, who seeks rightful restitution for an agreement made with the defendant Gorie Mohammed regarding the construction of the Howrah City Town Hall.
Yes, counsel.
If your lordship desires it, the counsel seeks permission to proceed with the statement of the facts.
You may proceed, counsel.
My client, the plaintiff, Kedarnath bhattacharji, serves as Municipal Commissioner of Howrah and is also one of the trustees of Howrah City Council Fund. A decision was made by the authorities to construct a town hall in Howrah, necessitating the procurement of funds for the project. The commissioners, including the plaintiff, initiated efforts to raise the required funds for the construction of the town hall. Upon reaching a sufficient level of membership and funds, an agreement was entered into with the defendant Gorie Mohammed for the construction of the town hall. Initially, the estimated cost for construction of the town hall was 26,000. As the membership list expanded along with the scope of the project, the estimated cost increased up to 40,000 rupees. Despite the increasing cost, the plaintiff and other commissioners remained committed to providing the necessary funds for the construction. The defendant Gorie Mohammed failed to adhere to the terms of the agreement, leading to breach of contract. Despite assurance and commitment made by the defendant, the construction work did not progress as agreed upon. The plaintiff, acting not only in his official capacity but also on behalf of the members who contributed to the fund, initiated legal proceedings against the defendant. The plaintiff seeks enforcement of agreement and compensation for the breach of contract. The plaintiff seeks a judgment form from the court affirming the validity of the agreement and holding the defendant liable for the agreed sum of 40,000 rupees. Additionally, the plaintiff seeks reimbursement for any expenses incurred during the legal proceedings. If your lordship are satisfied with the fact, the counsel seeks permission to proceed with the pleading of the issues of the case.
Yes, counsel, you may proceed.
Your Honor, may it please the court, today we are here to seek justice for my client, Mr. Kedarnath bhattacharji, who was wronged by the actions of the defendant, Mr. Gorie Mohammed. Your Honor, it is clear from the fact that my client, Mr. Bhattacharji, as a Municipal Commissioner of Howrah and the trustee of Howrah City Council Fund, diligently worked towards the construction of City Hall at Howrah. He and along with his other commissioners entered into an agreement with the defendant to undertake the construction. However, despite their efforts, the defendant failed to fulfill his obligation under the agreement. Your Honor, the law is unequal on this matter. Section 25 of Indian Contract Act 1872 explicitly states that an agreement made without consideration is void. And in this case, the promise made by the defendant was backed by consideration, as evidenced by the subscription obtained for the construction of the City Hall. Furthermore, Section 2D of Indian Contract Act 1872 defines that consideration is an act done at the will of the promisor. But counsel of defendant might argue that the promise made by the defendant was revocable. In this case, the commissioner, acting upon the secured funds, including Mr. Mohammed's subscription, entered into a binding contract with the builder to construct the town hall. Their reliance on this subscription constitutes a clear instance of consideration. Furthermore, in the case law such as Errington versus Errington and Woods establishes that once a promise is made, the promisee begins his performance and the promiser cannot revoke the promise. Here the commissioner, acting acted upon the subscriptions, including Mr. Mohammed, to proceed with the project. Including Mr. Mohammed, to proceed with the project. This established a binding agreement, and the defendant is therefore liable for the agreed upon contribution. May it please the court that I would like to proceed to address the second issue of the case to state the argument.
Counsel of plaintiff, you may proceed with the second issue.
Moving on to the second issue, Your Honor, Mr. Bhattacharji acted in his official capacity as a municipal commissioner and trustee. The interpretation of Code of Civil Procedure allows action to be brought for the benefits of all interested parties. In this case, Mr. Bhattacharji represents not only himself but also the other members who have subscribed to the project. Therefore, he has the legal standing to enforce the agreement on their behalf. If your lordship are satisfied with the pleading, the counsel seek permission to proceed with the prayer.
Thank you, counsel. You may proceed with your prayers.
Therefore, in the light of the established fact, the principle of consideration, and Mr. Bhattacharji legal standing, we respectfully request that this esteemed court find in favor of the plaintiff, Mr. Kedarnath Bhattacharji. We urge the court to order the defendant, Mr. Gorie Mohammed, to fulfill his financial obligation as per his subscription, including the increased construction cost.
Thank you, counsel for the plaintiff. Counsel of defendant, you may now start with your opening statement.
May it please the court, the counsel seeks permission to approach the dais.
Much obliged.
May it please the court, the counsel seeks permission to address the bench as your lordship.
Much obliged.
May it please the court, the counsel represent the defendant, Mr. Gorie Mohammed, in this matter.
Yes, counsel.
If your lordship desire it, the counsel seeks permission to proceed with the statements of the facts of the case.
You may now proceed.
We acknowledge the plaintiff's presentation. However, there are crucial details that requires clarifications. While Mr. Mohammed did subscribe to the membership list based on internal plans and budgets, the project construction cost significantly increased due to substantial change in scope. This point is essential to our argument. If the lordship are satisfied with these facts, the counsel seeks permission to proceed with the pleadings of the issues of the case.
You may proceed with the statement of issues.
Your Honor, the issues of the case are whether the defendant is legally obliged to contribute the increased construction cost, whether the plaintiff possesses to authority to enforce the agreement on behalf of all the involved parties. May it please the court that I would like to proceed to address the first issue of the case to the state of our argument.
Proceed with your arguments, counsel.
With your permission, Your Honor, we argue that Mr. Mohammed's subscription was based on specific project with defendant budgets and scope. The Commission's decision significantly altered the project and incur a high cost deviates from initial proposal Mr. Mohammed subscribed. This effectively renders the initial subscription inapplicable to the reverse project, which increased the expenses. Furthermore, the case this offers precedent. The case of Dorsami Iyer versus Arunachal Iyer, which was on 1936 Madras 135, highlights that mere promise to subscribe without request from the promisee to act upon with a specific revised plan does not constitute a binding contract and unforeseen expenses. In this case, there is no evidence that the Commission's specifically requested additional subscription to proceed with the reverse plans. May it please the court that I would like to proceed to address the second issue of the court of the state of the argument.
Counsel of Defendant, you may proceed with the second issue.
Even if the court finds initial argument holds some weight, Mr. Bhattacharji's authority to enforce in behalf of Mohammed is questionable. Mr. Mohammed's argument was with commissions collectively, not with Bhattacharji personally. Therefore, Mr. Bhattacharji may not have the legal standing to hold Mohammed solely liable for the increase of cost. If the Lordship are satisfied with the pleading, the Council seeks permission to proceed with the prayer.
Thank you, Counsel. You may now proceed with your prayers.
Therefore, in the light of material alteration to the project, lack of clear request for reverse subscription, and limited scope of Mr. Mohammed's agreement, we respectfully request the esteemed court dismiss the plaintiff's claim for increased construction cost from Mohammed. He should not be held liable for the expenses beyond the initial agreement scope.
Your Honor, if I may address the point raised by the defense.
Please proceed.
Your Honor, the defense asserts that the cost increase was unforeseen. However, Mr. Mohammed was well aware of the possibilities of fluctuation of project cost when he had subscribed. Projects of this nature often experience variations in expenses, and Mr. Mohammed consented to this understanding.
Your Honor, may I interject?
Go ahead, Counsel.
The plaintiff downplays the magnitude of the cost increased. While minor fluctuation be expected, the jump from 26,000 rupees to 40,000 rupees, it signifies and goes beyond the reasonable expectations.
Thank you, Counsel. Please continue, Plaintiff's Counsel.
Thank you, Your Honor. The defense also argues that the commissioners acted transparently in communicating project changes. While minor adjustments may have occurred, but the core purpose of this project has remained unchanged. The construction of the city town hall. Mr. Mohammed was not misled or unaware of the project objectives.
Objection, Your Honor. I must object. The plaintiff fails to acknowledge the commissions did not provide prior notice to subscribers about the significant changes and potential cost increase before pleading.
Objection sustained. Please refrain from interrupting Counsel. Plaintiff's Counsel, please conclude your rebuttal.
Of course, Your Honor. Lastly, the defense questioned Mr. Bhattacharji's authority to enforce the agreement on behalf of all the subscribers. However, while the agreement was made with the commissioner collectively, it holds each subscriber individually is accountable for their financial commitment. Mr. Bhattacharji, as a commissioner, is well aware within his right to pursue this case in the collective interest.
Defense Counsel, you may now proceed with your rebuttal.
Thank you, Your Honor. Defense wishes to address the point raised by the plaintiff.
Go ahead, Counsel.
Your Honor, the plaintiff attempts to justify the sustained cost increased by suggesting Mr. Mohammed should have anticipated the fluctuations. While minor variations may be reasonable, by such a drastic increase was so unforeseeable and goes beyond what Mohammed could have reasonably expected.
Objection, Your Honor. The defense is ignoring the fact the plaintiff has emphasized the importance of completing the project for the community benefit.
Objection overruled. Defense Counsel, please continue.
Thank you, Your Honor. Additionally, the plaintiff argues that the collective argument binds each subscriber to financial commitment. However, this does not automatically guarantee any individual commissioner the right to enforce the agreement on behalf of all subscribers. Especially, they are seeking to hold a single subscriber solely liable for unforeseen expenses.
Your Honor, may I respond to this point?
No, Counsel. Defense Counsel, please conclude the rebuttal.
Certainly, Your Honor. Lastly, the defense suggests that the alternative solution could be explored, such as prominent increase in contribution based on internal subscriber amount. This could elevate the burden on Mohammed while ensuring the project contribution.
Councillors, your arguments have been duly noted. The court will now take a brief recess to deliberate on the matter. Having carefully considered the arguments presented by both the counsels and examining the relevant case law, the court find in favor of the plaintiff, Mr. Kedarnath Bhattacharya, acting in his capacity as a trustee of the Howrah Town Hall Fund, entered into a legally binding contract with the defendant, Mr. Gorie Mohammed. The subscription agreement signed by Mr. Mohammed constitutes a valid and enforceable contract under the law. By affixing his signature to the subscription list, Mr. Mohammed willingly accepted the terms and obligations outlined therein.
Moreover, despite the unforeseen escalation in the project's cost, Mr. Mohammed remains bound by the terms of his agreement. The court recognizes that the increase in expenses does not absolve him of the contractual obligations to the Howrah Town Hall Fund. Therefore, in the light of the evidence presented and the principles of contract law, this court finds in favor of the plaintiff. Mr. Gorie Mohammed is hereby ordered to fulfill his contractual obligations by paying the full amount of his subscription to the Howrah Town Hall Bridge Fund without further delay.
The court is now adjourned.
Ladies and gentlemen, let me offer a deeper insight of the legal implication and reflection of the case Kedarnath Bhattacharya versus Gorie Mohammed, and this case was decided by Calcutta High Court in the year 1887. And this case stands the testament for the foundational principles of contractual law, illuminating the significant role of consideration and the doctrine of promise to estoppel in the contractual relations.
Section 2D of Indian Contract Act of 1872 serves as a guiding light, defining consideration as the bedrock of contract formation. It elucidates that for contract to be valid, there must be something in written, may it be a voluntary act or an abstinence. Furthermore, Section 10 of Indian Contract Act underscores the imperative of lawful consideration, emphasizing that contracts must be found a legally permissible terms to be enforceable.
In the paragraph 6 of judgment, it becomes abundantly clear that the subscription, when made with full awareness of the implications, constitute valid of consideration in contracts. The doctrine of promise estoppels the rooted in principle of equality and fairlessness. Dedicates that once promise is made and rely upon the promise is bound to be upheld.
In essence, the judgment in Kedarnath Bhattacharya versus Gorie Mohammed reaffirms the sanctity of agreements and underscores the judiciary role in upholding the contractual obligations. Thus, we conclude by stating that this case serves as a beacon of legal wisdom, illuminating the path towards a deeper understanding of contract law and its implications in the realm of commerce and society.